Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Covers. Today is a very, very special episode. If you're coming into the broadcast, please say hello. Tap the screen. Let us know where you're watching from. And do share this out with your lovely followers. Oh gosh. So if you're watching for the first time, my name is Daniela Bleckner. I am an author, book journey mentor, founder of a company called Conscious Dreams Publishing. We work with authors from all over the world to help them to get their powerful messages and stories out in the form of books. Behind me here are just some of the 300 plus books that we have published over the last 9 years. I'm absolutely passionate about providing a platform for unseen, unheard authors so they can have their voices shared and stories heard, so they can educate, inspire, entertain and empower for generations to come. So for those of you who are new to this show is really about sharing what goes on between the covers, behind the scenes of creating a book. So often we pick up a book and we read it, we enjoy it, but we don't actually fully understand the gravity between what it takes behind writing, publishing and distributing and promoting and marketing that book. So this is about getting an up-close, personal, in-depth look into what it takes to actually create a book and go on that journey. Now, over the last it's also a platform where we interview experts within the writing and publishing industry, so you can get a deeper understanding of that journey. But today is an extra special 2024 roundup. How has it gone at Conscious Dreams Publishing? The reason I'm doing this, I've not done it before. I've been doing these interviews for, again, 8 years. I've never done a roundup. This is just about being reflective. We're at the end of the year, and I think it's really important to have that time to reflect, to focus on and to appreciate and to celebrate all of the achievements, all of the amazing things that have gone on. And I hope that you are doing that in your own business, your own life. And it's something I think we need to do more of. So in this episode, I'm going to take you through what has gone on between the covers, behind the scenes of being the founder of Conscious Dreams Publishing, I guess. I'm going to heighten my chair. I feel it's quite low. So I set up Conscious Dreams Publishing initially to publish my own book, because my first book was called Mr. Wrong. It wasn't the first book I thought I'd write. I thought I'd write a children's fantasy novel, which I am still on. And I understood, and I got to understand how difficult it is. Sometimes it's like, navigating a minefield when you've got so many different companies, especially self-publishing companies, that are telling you so many different things. A lot of companies out there who are charging thousands and thousands, and also not really giving authors their dues, not really taking them on an empowered journey. And this is why I've set up Conscious Dreams Publishing, to work with authors so that they have a platform to have their stories shared, but also so that they're empowered along the journey, and empowered of the books, in control of their book's vision, and also their royalties, which is something that's really important as well. We don't just publish books, we offer mentoring, publishing services, as well as workshops, book strategy calls. I work with young authors. I do storytelling sessions. We have one of our young authors here today as well, and I want you to meet each and every one of them. I'm going to do a little roundup here so that you can see. Please let me know if you can see my screen. I did try and do this last week, and it wasn't that friendly to me, so I'm gonna try again. If you're watching, please in the comments just let me know if you can see my screen. I would like to share with you. Come on, upload file. Some of what we have achieved this year, as well as some of the authors that I have worked with. Come on. Nope, it's not coming up. Fantastic. Give me a few more seconds because I am tenacious. Okay. It's not going to let me share my screen. Okay. Oh gosh, come on. While you're waiting for this to work, please let me know how you are, where you're watching from, and then please let me know if you can see my screen. Share screen. One more time. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to give you a little roundup. Please let me know if you can see the screen. On the screen, you should be able to see some of the things that we have achieved this year in 2024. This is the Conscious Dreams 2024 roundup. Here we go. Yes, you can see it. No, I'm not sure if you can. Just type yes if you can see my screen. On my screen, you should be able to see. Okay, you can. Brilliant. All right. So over in 2024, we have published, we've had 200 plus books bought from the Conscious Dreams bookshop. This bookshop is really special to us because not only does it allow you to receive books directly from the Conscious Dreams bookshop, but it allows the authors to have a personal correspondence and personal touch when they're sending out their books, and they also receive 3 times more royalties than if they have a book bought on Amazon or Waterstones, for example. So 200 plus books bought from the Conscious Dreams bookshop. I've given 166 consultations over this year, 20-minute consultation, free consultations. Mentored 40 authors. We've published 29 books. So I've worked with 19 authors over this year, and 29 books, some of them in multiple languages. And we've had 9 book translations. I've run 6 workshops and webinars. I've mentored 5 young authors. We've won 2 amazing awards. One for Sarah Keto, our lovely 12-year-old who received a Royal Academy Global Special Recognition Award, which is absolutely fantastic. Well done to Sarah Keto. I also won an award myself for Best Children's Fiction Book for my book, 9 Days of Piper's Snow. We have produced 1 audiobook, and there's been 1 shortlist. Conscious Dreams Publishing was shortlisted for the IPG Independent Publishers Guild Award in Diversity, Equity and Inclusion. So it has been a very, very good year for us. There we go, it worked. Hooray! So January started off by going through all the different submissions. We continued working with authors who we started working with at the end of the last quarter of 2023. February saw our first writers' weekend retreat, which was amazing, in a beautiful, beautiful place called Wellness Center. That was it, in Barnet, a beautiful space in the middle of forestry area. It was a space where writers could really come together, work on their message, their why. I had Simone Vincenze, who is a business consultant, founder of GTEx, who also ran a workshop there, which was how to share your story and your expertise. And we had Gosha Gorna, who's one of our earlier authors from 2017. She's a transformational coach, and she worked behind the scenes, really helping authors to transform their fear into their greatest brilliance and release those negative or limiting belief systems about achieving greatness, about achieving their dreams, publishing their books, because sharing your story can be something that can make you feel quite vulnerable, can make you feel like, a lot of people feel like they're imposters. Why would anyone want to read my book? Why does anyone want to hear my story? Why does my voice matter? And she really helped them to let go of some of these limiting belief systems. And that was absolutely amazing. That was a magical, magical weekend where it wasn't just about me telling people how they should share their story or how to structure their book, but we had EFT sessions, which helped people to really embody that positive energy and release those limiting belief systems. But it was a place where they could also connect with each other as well. That was February. March, April, May was our first cohort of authors. In January, I met up with a very good friend of mine, Joanna, who published a poetry book with us a few years ago, 2018. Released it on the anniversary of her son's passing. He was an amazing, very young man, 21 years old when he passed. He is an absolutely phenomenal poet. He wrote a poem called I Am Love, which you can see online. It's on YouTube. It's just brilliant. Spoken word artist. And she found all his poetry and she compiled, I don't know how she did it, but she compiled all of his poetry together. She wrote a biography, like a personal memoir, really, with all of his poetry together. And I was at her house for her birthday on a social, and just by chance, just as we were about to leave, yes, Michelle happened to say to another friend of mine that she had always wanted to publish a book. And then the conversation began. She's, within 5 months of meeting her, wrote and published her book, Perfectly Imperfect. Her name is Michelle. I'm going to bring her on to the stage right now. She released her book at the end of May. Michelle, how are you doing?
Hi. Wow. It's been a whirlwind time, I tell you. This. I'm in awe of what you've achieved for the whole year. So it's like, wow, got a lot to live up to, haven't I?
Well, you're part of our author cohort and you lived up to everything you said you were going to do. We had our first consultation, and I think it was a few months after we met, maybe February, or maybe a month after. And you shared with me some of your story, which is absolutely fascinating. You also told me that you're a poet, and we thought maybe that might be the first book that would be, you know, the best book to release first. Can you tell us a bit about Perfectly Imperfect?
Well, Perfectly Imperfect. So the book is here. I've got it with me. As I said, I'm still getting used to the fact that I'm calling myself an author, but I am an author. Yeah, because it wasn't an intentional thing, but this book has come about through a lot of my experiences through life, and I actually am shocked myself that I've actually been able to put this together, because it was just like a stream of consciousness, should I say? Yeah, and I didn't think anybody else would have been interested in it, but you know, looking through it, it actually documents my journey through life, and what I have been going through, and I didn't realize until it actually was put together that it was a journey. You know, we go through life and we do things and we never think about it, but you know, your experiences, somebody else goes through them as well. And since releasing this book, it's like, you know, I'm sort of taken back how many people relate to the stories that I've actually told in poetry here. Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about your book, and would you like to share a poem?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I would love to share a poem. I don't know how deep I should go on this one, because the poetry, some of the poetries are quite deep. And I did a poem called Pain. And I think that was really at the height of a lot of things that I was going through. I went through a series of an illness, basically, which left me with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, a lot of things. And I said, nobody else could see the pain that I was actually feeling. So I wrote this poem called Pain. Yeah, just to get out what I was feeling inside. Yeah, so I'll read this one. Yeah. Pain, a subjective experience, one that is hard to compare. Each person has a comparable relationship, so different in every way. Don't tell me you understand my pain. You can hardly tell unless I spell it out. Oblivious to my endurance level, tested to extremities. When is it going to end? My pressure rises to level of concerns. Yet I say nothing. I wait and breathe it out. Sometimes taking a pill or two, hoping it will go unnoticed too. I don't want to concern you all. It's my pain, not yours. I just have to manage it now. But pain is now taking its toll. Can't sleep at night. My days are really sore. Skin touched. It is pricked with sharp darts of pain once more. My body battered from sustained warfare yet again. My face, my eyes, my mouth reflects an upside down smile. Finding it hard to straighten this out this time. Yet all I hear is grating tones and wailing sounds of failure. Pain is a debilitating feature you cannot begin to imagine. Those fortunate not to have this constant nemesis, they really can't empathize. No one wants to hang their pain on the line there for all to see, to take pot shots at their credibility. Is she really feeling it or making much of nothing? Can't be bothered by those thoughts. I can't and won't take it on. Not because I'm still pushing on. Don't think it's not happening or it's even gone. Pain, my constant companion and foe, can bring you down so very, very low. So when you see a smile on my face and hear laughter in the ear, that's the day I am blessed by grace, whose sympathy is always there.
Hey, this is what we do in the poetry world. Oh, something. We do the click. So if you're watching, please show us the click or just some fire emojis going up and down. That would be great. What I got from that is I think, everyone in life has experienced pain in some way, shape or form. And it's about how sometimes we might wear a face that lets people know otherwise, makes people think it's all fine. But internally, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy with the thoughts we think about ourselves, the way that we talk to ourselves. And I'm very much someone who believes in the power of words. And if we're not speaking positivity, if we're not speaking into ourselves, how can we expect others to speak into us and have any effect? So I thought that was really powerful. And thank you for sharing so bravely and vulnerably as well. Perfectly Imperfect. What kind of gave you the inspiration behind that title?
Perfectly Imperfect. Yeah. It came about as I was sort of looking at my own journey and experiences and realizing that through my own self-assessment and that I am not a perfect being, and that my faith has also told me that I still can push on even though I'm not perfect. And I want everybody else to understand they don't need to be perfect. They just need to keep striving for the better in their lives.
100%. And I love that as well. I mean, I work with young people as well. My chair keeps falling down. And that's something I always say is that we don't strive for perfection. There's no such thing. My idea of perfect would be completely different to yours. And it's just who wants to be perfect? We're all works in progress. So I love that. I'm going to I've just found all the comments here. So I'm just going to acknowledge some people watching. Ali Pally, one of our authors. Ali, why are you not online? If you want to come online, let me know. I'll send you the StreamYard link because you are one of our authors who published this year. It would be lovely to speak with you. Irvin, hello. Greetings from St. Lucia. Nice to see you, Irvin. We will get back to you in your submission. Don't you worry. Lee says, Happy Christmas. Hello, Lee. Oh, Lee can see it. Oh, brilliant. Now I'm getting it. Ali says, wow, I can't believe how much you've done in these 12 months. Brilliant. Yay, Michelle. Michelle, my sister, I'm so proud of what you've achieved this far. And this is what's amazing is the connections between people. You had your book launch in a church, and there were so many people there who were also part of that church that I knew, but from
Yes.
different pockets. You know, what Evadne, who's you know, did PR for us back in
Yeah.
2015, Lillian, who I know from Facebook, and other people as well. That's where Alison, one of our authors, came down. Ali says, why Michelle is my twin in so many ways, mind-blowing. And that's something I love about the author community is you may not know each other, but through shows like this and through, you know, working together at Conscious Dreams Publishing, so many of you have formed your own friendships and allyships, and, you know, coming to each other's book launches and supporting each other on this show especially is something that I find really, really beautiful. So
I think it's phenomenal, to be honest. You know, I always believe when synchronicity happens, it's so powerful. And since I've started this journey with this book journey, there's so many synchronicity that's been going on. It's like, whoa, this is where you're supposed to be. How do I deal with it, really? But yeah, I've met so much beautiful people, spiritually beautiful people, and I'm thankful. I really am. You just need to be brave enough to take the steps that you've been shown and just march ahead forward, regardless of what you have got going inside. Just get out of your way and just do it.
I love that. Just do it. And I've seen you kind of grow from strength to strength. I think when we first met, you had your poems and we kind of got them in an order, and, you know, each little step you were learning new things along the way. And I don't think you'd performed at that point, but I've seen you now on Facebook. I've seen you in certain groups, and you're performing and you're doing things. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you published your book.
Oh, since I published the book, I have been performing. And in actual fact, tomorrow night I will be at another venue. Yeah, tomorrow night at Station 10. I've done about 3 shows there already, performing the poetry. That was my first sort of step out, and I was really nervous. But yeah, I got a sort of good reception on that. So I you know, for the ending of the year, so that's my last one that I'll be doing. So 7 o'clock, you can meet me down there. That'll be fine. Yeah, it's in Sydenham.
Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Sydenham, Station 10. Spoke, is it called?
Yeah, Speak and Spoke. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, event. So yeah, I will be down there. It's also I've done some workshop with I think it was the Cassandra organization. Yeah, those are people for domestic violence, and they're supporting domestic violence. That was phenomenal. Meeting some of those people as well. It's really, you know, brilliant. I joined various groups, Soul Purpose 360. That's an empowerment group for women as well. Yeah, I've gone to a couple of events there as well. And yeah, it's literally been just ongoing. I've just sort of, I did Cami Red with what's it, Dear Black Woman?
Oh yes, in America, yeah.
In America, yeah. That was phenomenal as well. So it's like every time I sort of did a poetry reading or went somewhere, and then celebration of Black authors. Well, meeting Rudolph Walker.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Yeah, he was really nice. And yeah, just being around so many people who's of like mind, and opening my eyes to people who said to me, my aunt, I think it was my aunt, she said to me, Michelle, you have said things in your book that people have not been brave enough to admit to or say. And she said, well done, you, because you're so relatable in that sense, because, you know, they're not brave enough to say it. I just said it. I didn't think anything of it. So yeah, in my book, it's been really, really good. I've done so many different things, and I'm happy. Yeah.
And that's amazing when you write something and people, you know, you might think no one's going to read it, but then you hear feedback from people and say, oh, you're really brave for saying that. I felt like this. I've gone through that. And I think that's a really powerful thing. One of the huge things. I love doing what I do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for sharing your voice with everybody, getting out there to the world. And I'm looking forward to seeing more that you're going to bring. Now, everyone, I have poured myself a nice sort of champagne rosé. I'm not sure what it is. Sparkling rosé. So I'm going to raise a glass to Michelle. If you're watching,
and I'll raise one to you. Cheers.
If you're behind the scenes, Sarah, our 12-year-old's having some water. I can see Carolyn having a mug of something there. So feel free to get yourself a glass of something. So Ali Pali also wants to come on. So I'm going to quickly try and multitask, which is not one of my favorite things to do. But I will send you the information while I am live right now. Help. Or if anybody needs to get instructions, there you go. Ali Pali, I'm sending it from my lovely PA. Shout out to Ruby.
Oh, she's lovely.
She's fantastic. I couldn't live now. She's been
I would love to say to you, honestly, Danny, I don't think I could have done this journey without you. You have been the perfect match for this book journey. And I have to take my hat off to you. You're just phenomenal. You deserve all the blessings that God has to give to you, because you are really good. So again, cheers.
That. Thank you. Oh, can't get tearful on my first interview of the 2024 roundup. I love that. So I'm going to kind of bring everyone on individually, then I'll bring you all back separately as well. We've got some fire emojis coming up. I can't share them all. Michelle, that was powerful, says Deborah. Lillian Larty says, oh, she's raising a bottle of water. Michelle, that's a conscious dream.
Where am I gone?
So we're going to say bye to Michelle for now. Then I'm going to bring on our 12-year-old author. Are you ready? She was one of our authors from the first quarter as well. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Take care.
So Sarah was introduced to me through one of my other authors, Yeshiba, whose book we published in 2022. Since then, Yeshiba's also published her book in 4 other languages, plus a colouring book. We're going to be bringing her on in a second. She introduced me to Sarah Keto, 12-year-old author of 4 books and philanthropist. She not only writes really imaginative stories, but she donates all her money to charity. She's raised over £10,000 to build a school library, to refurbish a school library in Ghana, and donates all her money to helping homeless people in Croydon. Please give her a massive round of applause. Let's see some fire emojis as I bring on Sarah Keto. So, sweetheart, just unmute yourself, because you're just on mute. And hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm brilliant, thank you. You've all got Christmas themes going on. I love this. Could you introduce yourself to our lovely audience, please?
So, hi, my name is Sarah Keto. I am 12 years old, and as Danny said, I am both an author and a philanthropist who helps the vulnerable in my society and across the nation.
You're amazing. So let's get in here straight away. What are you doing right now? Because I know that you're actually, before we talk about your books, I know that you're doing something right now, which is absolutely fantastic, and you want to get out and you want people to support you on.
So we have, right now, I am doing this project where I am making homeless emergency packs for the vulnerable and the homeless in my local area, and we're making those kits and we are giving them out to the homeless so they can have something to look forward to during Christmas. And also because especially this year it's getting very, very, very cold, and the weather is getting much harsher, wetter, and all of this. So I decided to also put some warm clothes in there so they can be nice and warm during this very harsh season.
You're amazing. You're amazing. I know that you live in Croydon like myself, and I know that it's the West Croydon Methodist Church that does something called the Wednesday Club as well, donating money and helping. Is it giving out packages as well on Saturdays, Sundays, Wednesdays? Hence the Wednesday Club. Wednesdays, early in the morning at 8 a.m. I think you're absolutely fantastic. And I'm so, so proud of you. You've achieved so much. So you wrote 3 books before we met, and you wrote your 4th book with us. Tell us a little bit about your 3 books, first of all, and then tell us about your 4th book.
So my 3 books I published, I think, around 3 years ago when I was just turning 10. And I wrote those books when I was 7 years old, in year 2 to year 3 during the lockdown. And I wrote them, one, because I wanted to see more books with my face in it, or people who look like me inside of it, especially as the main character. And also that's partially because I read so much during lockdown because I had nothing to do and I was a bit bored, so I just decided to read a book. But I didn't see, like, even the description of the characters, it didn't really feel to me, except for one book, Alicia Dixon's Lightning Girl. That one was my favorite book growing up because it was the one book I found with my face in it. So I decided to put my own face in my 3 books, which I have right here. So let's do that one. So these are my 2 reading books. This is The Friendship Club and Other Stories, which has 3 stories inside, but it's all in one book, and they all have a good message about family, faith, and friends. This is Lindsay and the Blue Fox. A young girl finding a blue fox in her kitchen, and with her twin brother, she's on a mission to find the long lost family, which also has an element of family and bonding. And then to combine the 2 books, I've got my coloring book, which at the end as well you can make your own drawings, and then you can also write your own story. So yeah, those are my 3 books.
Amazing. So I've got someone backstage called Carolyn May, who's also one of our authors, who loves animals and has written a book about, well, she'll tell you when she comes on, about animals as well. So I think Lindsay and the Blue Fox is one that I think she'll really enjoy hearing you talk about too. Tell us about your 4th book. I can see your jumper with it on.
Yes, so this is Emma and the Lost Key. As you can see there, it is set in Ghana, and it's based off of my adventures in Ghana. I think it was last year. Yeah, I went to Ghana last year, and I decided after my trip to Ghana, I decided to write a book about it. And this is Emma and the Lost Key. It's based off of both me and my sister. So there you go. And it's mainly about a young girl called Emma who lives in Ghana, and with her she, on her way back from school, she finds a lost key, and when she researched about it with her family, friends, and community, she goes out to find where this leads to. And she needs to choose whether, once she's found the treasure, to give it back to the rightful owner or to keep it for herself.
Lovely. And what I love about that book is, again, you kind of touched on similar themes like the importance of family, friendship, and that keeping that legacy going. And I think that's something that's so precious and really insightful, especially, you know, you're 12 years old to be talking about these sorts of things. I think is absolutely fantastic. And you have done some amazing things this year. Like when I first met you, I think it was a few years ago now, when you first had to talk in front of a crowd, it was quite scary, wasn't it? Do you remember when I took you to an event and threw you in there to introduce your books? That was quite daunting, right? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And how do you feel now? Because I've seen you grow quite a lot. You've done quite a bit since then. Do you think you've grown in confidence?
Yeah, from the first time I went up on stage, it was, I think I've improved quite a lot. Obviously, I still have some improving to do, but compared to how I used to be, it's much better because my younger self, no one in my school until I graduated knew I was an author. But when it was when I got to secondary school, when I started to be more open about my book, now nearly everyone in my school knows about that I'm an author, obviously, and they know the things that I do. Yeah,
a lot of people go on.
Yes, sometimes I had to do it when I was in year 7. Last day, I had to do an assembly last minute. It was, I didn't really like it, but it was a way to gain up my confidence, and now I think I'm much better, especially because I'm doing all these different events, especially in different. It was like wow.
You are doing absolutely amazing. At 12 years old, I was scared to read out loud in class. Believe it or not, I was. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. So the fact that you say you've been doing all of these things is being very humble here. Sarah's book really took off, and you ended up being on, I think it was BBC, Sky TV, another newspaper in Ghana. One of my favorites, I think, was Sky TV, and another TV show in Ghana, I think. One of my favorites was Sky TV, when you had that interview, and then they brought on Alicia Dixon as a surprise guest for you, didn't they? And there's that picture of you really with your mouth open, really. How did that feel?
It was so amazing especially because Alicia Dixon, she was my favorite author, and because her book, especially, her book Lightning Girl was the first book I read when the actual main character had a proper afro. She knew about her culture. She expressed her, even if you look at the book, the front cover, your eyes will be drawn to the afro because you can clearly see the afro. Unlike sometimes, you would see characters in a book with an afro, but you won't. Their character, it doesn't really express it. But this book, the afro is really expressed, and I really love it.
That's exactly how mine was in school. So I would have loved to have a book like that. I think that's really important, isn't it? Yeah. Sarah, you are an absolute inspiration. You've got some lovely comments here. Well done, everyone, from your mother. So your mum and your dad they're so supportive. You've got a whole troop of people behind you. You're just absolutely fantastic. You really are. Michelle says, well done. Fantastic achievement, Sarah. Carolyn May says, well done, Sarah. Amazing. You also had a book launch too, where the mayor of Croydon came down, didn't he?
Yeah.
Shook your hand, you had some photos taken. I just want to say how proud I am of you, what an inspiration you are. We had an event in October, Black Authors on the Rise, and you helped me to do the storytelling workshop. And to be honest, I think that I probably could have left you to it because you just did so well. So I just want to give you a massive round of applause. You can have some water. I'm going to have a sparkling something here for you. Congratulations, Sarah. Well done. So if you have, if I can ask for your mum to please, I know your mum's really good at this, just put any links up to your book, anything that you're doing, your fund that you're doing, your charity work, same for Michelle as well. As I interview you, just put your links up to your book. It's all about supporting each other and follow each other as well. Was there one more thing, Sarah? No? Oh, I thought you were going to say something. That's all. Yes. Okay, brilliant. I'm going to take you off and then I'm going to bring in our next guest. So stay behind the scenes for me. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so isn't this exciting? If you've just joined, I'm just going to introduce myself again. My name is Daniela Bleckner, author, book journey mentor, founder of Conscious Dreams Publishing. We work with authors to help them to get their powerful messages and stories out there in the form of books. Look at them behind. In the last 9 years, we've published over 300 books. This year, we've published 18 authors, I think it is. I'm trying to get my numbers right. And 29 books. Here are some of our author cohort. Please work. I'm going to share my screen again and hope and pray that my author cohort will come up. It's taking too long, isn't it? Let me know, please, if you can see the pictures of our lovely authors coming up on the screen. It should be any moment now, and you should be able to count them. Okay. No. Let me try again. I think I need to practice sharing my screen, don't I? I've got it masterfully down on Zoom, just not so much on StreamYard. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to bring on my next guest. Here is Carolyn May. She published a book with us. We worked for quite a while through 2023, and she published in June 2024. She's set to have a book launch next year in April. So let's bring her on. She is the author of Alfie, Stella, and the Poachers. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Lovely to see you.
Hey, Carolyn.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Amazing. Yeah, good, thank you.
You for being a huge part of the year. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your book?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm Carolyn May, and here is my book, Alfie, Stella and the Poachers. And it's a book for 8 to 12-year-olds, and it's all about animals in an African national park banding together to fight back against the threat of evil poachers. So we've got Alfie, who's a chimpanzee. So he lives with the ranger and he helps the ranger. Stella is the elephant and the leader of the elephant herd. But we've also got leopards, lions, wildebeest, buffalo, cheetahs, puff adder, all kinds of characters. And they all help each other, but they have their disagreements as well. So it's humorous, but with a kind of serious message.
I love your book because I'm an animal lover first and foremost, so I'd have absolutely loved this book at this age, the kind of middle grade, 8 to 12-year-olds, isn't it? I love how you characterize all of the characters, but also weave in their personal traits. You've got the puff adder, you've got the meerkats who are like quite military, you've got the secretary bird, very serious. It's just, and I think my favorite character is Stella the elephant. Can you tell us what inspired you to write the book?
Yeah, good question. So I've always loved animals. When I was little, I used to kind of, whenever we went away, I'd go and find stray cats and be kind of spending my holiday with them. But I also was really inspired by a wildlife artist called David Shepherd when I was little. And my sister and I used to raise money for David Shepherd. We were the Rectory Close Rough Squad. We used to go and clean cars and, sweep out leaves or whatever people wanted us to do and raise money. And then my sister and I met him, and he sent us such a nice handwritten letter afterwards to the Rectory Close Rough Squad, telling us how grateful he was because we'd raised quite a lot of money for his charity. And then I went to Kenya and Tanzania when I was about 20, and it's just so beautiful. And I saw all these animals kind of in real life. And it just struck me just how incredibly sad it is that they face poaching, in their natural habitat where they live. It's their world, and yet they're not safe. So, yeah, I was inspired to write it then. So I give away my age to say how long ago that was, but it's quite a long time ago, over 2 decades ago. And then I thought I'd lost the book because I'd saved it all on a disc, and then the disc got corrupted. So I thought it was gone. I'd lost it. And then I was clearing out my garage about 5-6 years ago, and I found I'd printed out a copy. So then I thought, okay, maybe this is meant to be. Maybe I need to kind of edit this and and kind of publish it. So yes, and then I found you, Danny. So it's been brilliant. It's been hard work, hasn't it? Lots of hard work to get it into the right number of chapters and but yes, I'm incredibly proud of it actually, and children who read the book always love it and really enjoy it. And I think it's just such a lovely thing actually that people read your stories and really enjoy it. So yeah, very happy to publish it this year.
Brilliant, well done. And you'll be having a book launch in, I think it's going to be April. Now, yes.
Hopefully.
We're going to have a book launch in April in Wimbledon, so that information will all be sent out. Carolyn's going to put a link to her book as well, so please do follow Carolyn for those updates about her book launch. What was the most exciting or, the best part about writing your book?
Do you know, I just wrote it from the heart, and I did it completely the wrong way. If you read about how you should write a book, I just wrote it as the characters came out, and I wrote down what they said, and I knew what they were going to say, and it wasn't structured. It was just written from the heart, and I saw what happened as the book carried on in a way. The kind of animals told me what was going to happen, so it was really fun. I really enjoy it. I have to say, I love writing.
Brilliant. And then you met us and went through all the editing.
Did it properly.
Sorry. The editing is always the hardest part. I'm an author myself, but I know what it's like. You have to reread your work over and over again.
So many times,
especially when it's fiction as well.
And when it's 380 pages, it's a lot of time, isn't it, going through it every time? But yeah, we got there. I
can see Carrier on the back, another one of our fiction authors nodding there. Even Michelle, with the editing of your book, a poetry book, we do have to read our books a lot of times.
We certainly do. Thank you so much for your help. It was amazing.
Okay. And so what would you say is the most rewarding thing about being an author now?
I really like it when people read my books and enjoy them and tell me about it. And I've sometimes meet up with friends and their children will come and say, "Oh, I loved Alfie," or "I loved Stella," and it's so nice. I can say to them, "So who was your favourite character?" And it's always been Alfie so far. But it's so nice to talk to them about, and they're so excited to kind of tell me about the characters and what they think about them, and it's so lovely. It's such a nice thing. It's a kind of bond between people when they've read your book and want to talk to you about it. So, and sometimes they remember more about my characters than I do. So it's quite funny.
Yeah. Who's your favourite character?
Yeah, good question. I like them all for different reasons, actually. I quite like Buffalo. Buffalo makes me laugh. And Buffalo kind of gets very angry with things, but he gets very angry for the right reasons. He's kind of fiercely anti the poachers. He thinks they're terrible and just doesn't want them in the land. And so he kind of gets very cross, and unfortunate things happen as a result. But it's all for the right reasons, and his heart's in the right place. So yeah.
And it's a great way to raise awareness about poaching and some of the real serious dangers that animals and the environment actually do, have looming over them. So yeah, thank you so much for writing your book. I'm going to raise a glass to you if you have a glass as well.
Thank you. And to you. Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year. Well. Yeah, congratulations to Carolyn and to everybody who's published with us in 2024.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be drunk by the end of this interview.
I'm drinking water.
Okay. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Let's give us a round of applause. Let's see the lovely emojis.
Thanks, everyone. Well done, everyone.
Awesome. Okay. Who have we got next? Okay, couple of things here. Winsome, hello, says, "Hi, Danny and Michelle. Thanks for inviting me. Winsome, good to know what's to come." Fantastic. Oh, hello, Winsome. Hey, is that Winsome Bailey? Michelle says it definitely was meant to be. Well done. Fantastic. Thank you, Danny, for your continuous love, support and encouragement. Absolutely my pleasure. I love doing what I do. And part of what I love doing about this is I'm naturally quite a nosy person. Every journey is different. I call myself a book journey mentor as opposed to a book mentor, because every book is a journey. The whole process of writing with authors is a journey, not only from a sort of writing perspective, but also from a personal development perspective. I learn a lot about myself. The authors, you learn your own things as you're going through the process. And it's just, I learn through reading your stories and the importance of having a voice, being represented, doing something for a good cause. So with the animals, raising awareness around poaching, with Sarah, raising awareness around the importance of representation, especially for our young people, but the importance of, family and legacy, and doing something outside of ourselves. So in the case of Sarah, raising money for charity, helping others. It's just fantastic. So we have gone to June. We're going to skip to September. Do you remember September? I'm bringing on Alison. I met Alison in 2020 now, 4 years ago now. She did The Power of Your Story. Was supposed to be in person, but lockdown happened and I had to learn very quickly how to use Zoom because I had my workshop the next week. I wasn't going to cancel. So Alison joined us on the workshop online. It was 3 sessions, I think it was.
Yeah.
And you were writing a memoir at the time, which you are now publishing with us this year. But you came back to us 4 years later with a poetry book called Downloads from Heaven. So tell us a bit about Downloads from Heaven and your journey.
Hi, evening everyone. Well, Downloads from Heaven is literally, I've always written poetry throughout my life, like from early teenage years up until, it's always been my release factor. Like if I'm going through anything or if I'm just sitting down dawdling, poems will just come to me and I'll just write them down. And I used to post the odd poetry, like obviously when Facebook came up and about, and I'll post the odd poetry on Facebook and my friends would be so annoyed with me. They were like, what's it doing on Facebook? It's no good on Facebook. You need to put it in a book. You got too much to nag until one day I decided, I couldn't obviously do the book of memoirs. It just wasn't the right time for that yet. And something just told me, just have a look at all your poems and see whether or not you can put them together. And while I was putting the ones I had written before, I was obviously continually writing. I wrote nearly every other day anyway. So I just started to put them in a library, like in my notes in my phone. I just had a library thing and put it on OneDrive and stuff. And then it wasn't, I came to obviously with the idea of doing the poetry and we went through with it. And it's not until the ending when it was nearly finished. And then I met Michelle and obviously went Price and went to her book launch, and you told me, have a look at her book and read it and see. And I did. I ordered her book. I got her book. And I was reading it and I thought it was really, really good. And I was thinking, it's so interesting how it's all in categories and stuff. And it was through Michelle that I realized, let me just see whether or not I can categorize, because my poems were just there. There was no structure to it whatsoever. And I really believe God is so marvelous in what he does, because when I looked at my poems, when I thought about these titles were coming into my head for different chapter headings. And when I looked at my poems, I had just a good amount of poems for each section. Like I had a poems on transformation, poems on grief, poems on family and friends. So I was able to sectionize the poems. And also, I really, really had a book structure. I was really pleased. And it's just blown my mind. Like everything, when I read back some of the poems that I've written, and I just think that was not me. That was definitely from God. And that's why the name of the book, Downloads from Heaven, came about, because I really believe that it literally was the Holy Spirit that downloaded things to me. Because when I read back, I'm thinking that definitely didn't come from me, because I don't know that word. and I would actually write, and then there'll be a word that I come up with and I don't know it. And I will go on Google to find out, what does this word mean? And it actually fit the poem. I was like, that used to speak me all the time. And I thought to myself, God knows, just don't question it, just write it.
You're literally downloading from heaven.
Yeah, literally. It's no word of a lie, really and truly.
It's a beautiful book. And I always think that, whenever I work with people, it's the right people that come at the right time, and the synchronicities and the things that happen are all meant to be. Like meeting Michelle in January, and then Michelle had said, I think she'll share the story how she'd prayed and said, God, I really want to publish a book. Can you, not knowing, Joanna was going to have this event, or even knowing about me, I don't think she did. Please put someone on my path who can help me with my book. About to leave, she mentioned it to somebody, my friend at the event, and then it happened. We had a consultation, and then just as Michelle was publishing her book, you came back to me after 4 years, and I could see you had very similar paths, and I could see you kind of the synergy there. And the fact that I was working with you both at the same time with very similar stories, very similar themes, was like, yeah, this is right, One of the things that I think is really powerful about your book is, I can never say this word. You talk about, some of the health things that you've gone through, and having hemiplegic migraines, which is
Daddy, you done it
right. I always say it wrong, which is similar to, gives you stroke symptoms. And I hadn't heard of it before, and when I was sending you the manuscript, you'd come back to me very quickly, having gone through it all. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep up with you. And you'd do it sometimes whilst having a hemiplegic migraine. And I saw you on Facebook, and you were sharing your poems online for the first time whilst having a hemiplegic migraine. And that was like your speech had gone, and I'd never heard you like that before. And what was really powerful, you were talking about your faith, and you're talking about how you're not going to allow. In fact, you can share a bit about what a hemiplegic migraine is, and about that Facebook Live.
So basically, I had a stroke when I was 29, and that took me 2.5 years to recover from. I had to go through I lost my speech completely, and I had to go through speech therapy, and I had vertigo and tinnitus in my ears. I had so much things, right side weakness, confusion. I had word finding issues. It was a lot was going on. And then after that, that was in 1999. That sounds so ancient. 1999. And then in 2009, they diagnosed me with hemiplegic migraine. It was Royal Free Hospital and the London Migraine Clinic that both came up with this condition. And basically, it's a migraine. It's a certain type of migraine, and the auras give you stroke symptoms. So it's very similar to a stroke. And even when it's really bad and the paramedics have to be called, it confuses them. So they can't tell unless I've gone to hospital and had a scan done and different tests, blood tests and things. So they need to rule out that it's an actual stroke. So I'm at risk of having another stroke because of these migraines. But I serve a bigger God. But it's sometimes, I talk fine like this, and then tomorrow I can get a migraine, and it's one of these hemiplegic ones, and then my speech has gone to Russia. It's traveled, and I just find it really difficult. And I think with myself, my children and my family, we're so used to it now, although we shouldn't really get used to things like this, but to the fact that I haven't got time to cry about these things. I really haven't. It's better for me that I laugh my belly gut full of how I sound. And there's times when I'll be talking to the kids and I will say something and it will come out like gobbledygook, and they'll give me this look like, what? And we'll just crack up laughing. It's like, okay, Mum, go to bed. just chill out, go to bed. So we have a laugh. And like my nieces, they say to me that I sound like if I'm from Russia or an Italian gangster, or they say, oh, Auntie Ali's hit the bottle again because I sound really slurred. So we just take the mick out of it. There's times when it does depress me because I can't function. I can't get things done. I've had to stop cooking because I've been a qualified chef since 1987, and that's all I ever knew. And through with my mind and different other health issues, I've had to stop catering to that level. And it can depress you if you allow it to. It can really depress you, but I just haven't got that. My faith. It's just me and God. and the Holy Spirit and praise and worship and my church family and my actual family, that we're such a loving bunch, and good friends behind me. I just haven't got the time for it to knock me down. And I thought I wouldn't be able to write my book as well, because sometimes it's overthinking is really bad. It just doesn't add up. So how I managed to get this book out and writing another one, it's mind-blowing. Pardon the pun, but it really is mind-blowing, because sometimes when I'm not well, it's so hard to concentrate, and it's so hard to get my words out. It's so hard to formulate sentences and make it make sense. So, and that's another reason why I think it is really God's given gift that that He's given me, to be able to have a passion for something. My chef work's been taken away from me, but I've got something else now, and now I can call myself. I'm not just a mother and a chef, but I'm also an author now. So it's such a lovely feeling, and I've got such a passion for writing that I know whenever I get unwell, I just see it as, okay, time out, have a rest. This soon shall pass, and I will just go again. So I just take it as a coffee break.
And you've done amazingly well, going to your book launch and seeing all your friends and your family, and the huge support, and you've all got the same smile on your family, you can tell. The huge support that you have, I think it really makes all the difference in your faith and your community, your church community as well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see. We've got a couple of comments here. Michelle says, well done for persevering through. You are so brave and talented. It's amazing.
I love Michelle.
You. Yeshiva says, Ali, your personality reaches through the screens. Your power and presence always breaks my smile. I mean, you came to Black Authors on the Rise in October, and you actually were experiencing a hemiplegic migraine. Your speech had gone, and you came, you persevered, you still spoke on the stage. It was incredibly powerful. So thank you so much for that. Before I wrap up with your little section here, you also have an audio book that you did. You went into the studio we've partnered with someone called Peaches. She's a studio. She's brilliant, so much fun.
Yeah,
you go down to the studio, and then we do the sound engineering, and then I upload it, and it's going to be an Audible for the new year. I'm just awaiting the files to upload. Tell us a little bit about why you chose to do an audiobook and what the experience was like.
Well, I had my nephew, for one, was saying to me, he was at my book launch, he helped host the book launch, and he was saying, Auntie, I haven't actually read your book yet, but I'm more of a listener. I'm always on the go, and he likes books, but he hasn't got time to read books. So if anything, he would like to if he's in the gym or going to work, he would like to have something in his ears. So that was one thing that had me thinking. And then I have a really dear friend of mine who has something wrong with her eyes. She's had it for all her life, but it's been getting worse. And she's actually going blind. And she did order my book to read. And she ordered it, but I didn't realize she ordered it just to support me. I didn't realize she couldn't actually see the book to read it. So when she came to the book launch, and I realized how much of her sight had gone already, and it really shocked me. And she did say to me, "Oh, Ali, have you got it on audio?" I said, "Oh no, I didn't really think of doing it on audio, just not putting the two together." And then when I saw her come in and needing help for my other really good friend and her daughter, my heart just sunk, because, just to see, she's such a beautiful woman, and to see that she's, losing her sight really, really saddened me. It really saddens me. And it was my incentive to say, there's people out there that can't read a book but love stories, or they love poetry, and there's people that have dyslexia that have trouble with words, and there's people like my nephew that's always on the go, and they need people that like to be in the gym and have something in their ears. And I just thought, why not an audio? And I decided I think number one would be my good friend Tracy, and then my nephew was my other incentive. But I really wanted to persevere and do the audio. And there's me thinking, going to the studio, that I was gonna give someone the book, and it would be like all this, AI stuff, and I didn't realize I had to read this thing myself.
We did tell you. we did tell you you'd have to read.
Oh my goodness! But you know what? I did it. It was this little sunshine. I read. I think it took us maybe 4 hours or so, maybe 4 or 5 hours, I think. But it sounds long, but it went really fast because we had such an awesome time. Peaches, she's such a laugh, and what's this guy's name? I've forgotten his name now.
Prof
is such a professional, and he was so good, and he was so patient with me. And if anybody is thinking about turning their book into audio, I strongly recommend it. It's the most fun, and it really does bless. It makes your book diverse. It's accessible to not just Joe Blogs that reads it, but everyone that has maybe a disability or the lifestyle. It makes your book so more accessible. So I would say look into doing the audio. It's exciting, and listening back when you sent me the files, I'm listening to my voice, I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's not too bad. It's actually it's really good. Very excited. So excited.
I did my first audiobook in 2020 with Peaches, and it was so much fun. I mean, my book's a lot shorter, Lockdown Life, but it does make a difference when you listen to it, and when you read it, because you can feel the rhythm and the flow and whether it works. And when you're giving expression, it kind of just brings it to life.
Yeah. And my speech didn't go. I was very anxious. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to read through this whole book. Am I going to stutter? Am I going to slur? And it stayed perfect throughout the whole of the reading. It was, you know what? I'm just in awe. I really am in awe.
You did amazingly well. Yeah. Can we give Ali a massive round of applause, please? Let's see those fire emojis, those hearts going up. We've got some love there from Carolyn as well.
Thanks, Carolyn. Oh, and I must say, to all the children's authors out there, I got a couple of books for my nieces for their Christmas presents, and when the books were delivered to me, I got Sarah's book, Sheba's book. Oh, there was somebody else, I can't remember. But I got some book, and the feel of the books and the illustrations, well done, Conscious Dreams Publishing. These books are so amazing. I got Sarah, I didn't realize Sarah had a colouring book because I was trying to get sets for the kids, and I missed out on her colouring book. I didn't see it. So I'm going to have to go back on and see if I can retrieve her colouring book and another storybook of hers. But I absolutely love the books. They look so lovely. I can't wait for my nieces to open their presents up and have a look and enjoy them.
Oh, lovely. We've got a number of top buyers on the Conscious Dreams Bookshop. In fact, I did have the link here. There you go. If you are watching, you can get a signed copy of any of our authors' books at www.consciousdreamsbookshop.com. They will sign it, send it out, have the personalized touch, ready for Christmas. Keep us busy. Thank you so much, Alison. Lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me. It's been so lovely, and thank you so much, Danny, for your hard work. And I can't wait to work with you with my new book in the new year.
Yes, awesome. See you in a bit. I'm going to bring you all on later.
All right, see you in a bit. Bye.
So we have got up to September, so we're nearly coming to an end. I forgot to say, in August, I released the Swahili version of my book, Sika Tisa za Piper Snow, 9 Days of Piper Snow. I lived in Tanzania for a year in 2000 to 2001, and I wanted to create something that I could send to friends in Tanzania so that it could be accessible to them, and also the language is just so beautiful. And then I got really into sort of the translating thing. We've partnered with another company called Polyglot translations that who Yoshiba know, as well as a past author called Viholi, who offered to translate my book into Spanish. Spanish isn't as good. If you're Spanish, just bear with me. 9 días con Piper Snow. I think that's how you say it. 9 Days of Piper Snow, available in Spanish. And I'm going to go for a few more languages soon. So we also have that service to translate books in 2 different languages. For those of you who don't know what 9 Days of Piper Snow is, you might be able to hear some rustling on my book on my windowsill. It is my pigeon. It's telling me to be quiet because it's his bedtime. His name is Piper, and he arrived. My dad passed away in 2020. And I moved house about 1.5 years ago, and it took me quite a while to unpack all the boxes. The last box I unpacked after 3 months was my dad's box of some of his things. And I put my dad's photo on the windowsill. No word of a lie. 10 minutes later, went downstairs, came back up. This white pigeon was inside my office, right there on the windowsill, bold as brass. And then for the next few weeks, we struggled. It was summer with trying to get rid of this pigeon. We did feed him, and I think that probably had a lot to do with it, because they wouldn't leave us alone. We were scared to go out in the garden because the pigeon was pacing up and down, scared to go outside because the pigeon would try and get in through the front door. When I left the house, it would go up in the chimney and watch me. It's like, what's going on? And sometimes I'd come home, if I'd left the window open a crack, or if I was downstairs, I would suddenly hear this cooing, and the pigeon's up here, and it kept landing on I've got a tribute desk for my dad, and I just couldn't get him out. Eventually, after many, many months of kind of back and forth, we've ended up and my partner saying, we're not having a pigeon. We've built him a 3-story house, and he literally lives on our windowsill. He stays there. Wild pigeon, but yeah, we've become very, very good friends. It's a love-hate relationship, should we say, but it's inspired me to write this book, which is about a young girl called Samara who loses her dad on the anniversary of his dad's passing. She's missing her dad, meets this white pigeon, and the pigeon has a very mysterious white pigeon, magical white pigeon, forms a friendship with Samara, which helps her to move through her grief. Not overcome it, but move through her grief and form a new friendship. And the pigeon teaches her the importance of friendship, of love, but also cherishing those memories that you have with loved ones. And it's gone down really well with young people. It can be read as surface level about, a funny white pigeon that's, kids love the story behind Piper Snow, the fact that it's based on a real life pigeon, but it opens up a lot of dialogue around losing a parent, or losing a lost a loved one, or even a pet, in a space where sometimes children are forgotten. So yeah, that's it's a really special book for me. It's my first children's book. I've always wanted to write a children's book. I've written 8 books for adults, and this pigeon reminded me of my own dreams, and I got to fulfill it. So that's 9 Days of Piper Snow, translated into 2 languages in April and November, which brings me to Yoshiba. I'm coming to you right at the end, and then Janet, don't you worry, but I'm going to go to Eukarya. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, Danny. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. So I met Eukarya on it was a Facebook group, Black Owned Economy, and she was asking for a publisher, and I was tagged into this post quite a few times from people, which I thank you so much everyone who tagged me, because it was a great pairing. She had a great idea for a book called Breadwinner, set in Lagos. In fact, I'm going to let her tell us the story. It's beautifully written. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your book?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eukarya, originally from Nigeria, but I've been in the UK for some years now. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 3 children, 3 daughters. I have a full-time job. I'm also a Christian, a lover of God, and now an author, which is very exciting and unbelievable. Like one of the people said, I can't believe it, calling myself an author, but yeah, it's just happened, and I'm so thankful for it.
Tell us about your book, Breadwinner, The Weight of Blood and Bread. Show us the front cover. I love your cover. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, so this is Breadwinner. Breadwinner is a breadwinner story. It's an immigration story. It's a polygamy story. It's also a story of gender disappointments, gender expectations, and it's laced in humor because I love to have a good laugh when reading a book. However, the foundation of the book was written on black tax, and black tax is the financial burden, financial responsibilities saddled on the shoulders of many people, especially from developing countries, where there's a huge expectation to always send money home, finance bills, pay people school fees, put people on salaries, and stuff like that. And being a Nigerian myself and growing up in Nigeria, we always live a communal life where we look after each other, we always cater to each other. And then when a child grows up, there's an expectation that that child in turn would look after the family or the community that has looked after them, which is beautiful. However, what the book highlights is the struggles that many people do not talk about. As the subtitle says, the weight of blood and bread. So you're carrying a huge responsibility on your shoulder where you're expected to always, finance people. And why I said people abuse this is because many people would do things that they cannot financially provide for, with the hopes that somebody else would do it for them. So in the case of polygamy, somebody could marry more than one woman, have children that they cannot cater for, and hope that their brother would be the one to look after those children.
Mm.
And when you look at that brother, maybe that brother has just one child or just two children, but somebody else is having more than they can cater for because they are hoping. And there's this blackmail that comes with that, like, oh, my children are also your children.
The
They
community thing, right?
yeah, my children are also your children. Why can't you do this for me? Why can't you do that for me? So that's the black tax story. The book doesn't condemn this communal lifestyle because whether we like it or not, it's part of the culture of many communities. But what it states is the struggles, the untold struggles, things people do not talk about. So that's a brief summary of the book.
I mean, it's beautifully written. Not only do you kind of get into that description, you can really bring Lagos to life, and I can imagine the people and the expressions and just everything. The scene on the bus. I always talk about that one, but the
Yes.
underlying message of the financial burden, the expectation, the polygamy. I can never say that word. Polygamy aspect of it. And the twist at the end, which I won't ruin. I read that and my jaw was dropping. Like, no, she can't have done that. No way. But honestly, it's such a great book. And Yoshiba, this is definitely one that you definitely should get, because we've got Yoshiba on backstage. She's also a book reviewer. This is a book for you, definitely. Michelle says, powerful story. You've got your hubby here, your number one supporter. Go for it. Breadwinner has received positive feedback from readers so far. Readers are fascinated with the novel because it's relatable and speaks to their experiences. Well done, Eukarya. Lovely. Thank you so much. And you had your book launch on my birthday on the 7th of December.
Yes.
That looked amazing. Tell us a bit about that.
Oh, it was beautiful. Everything I hoped for, everything I imagined, everything I prayed for. I told myself about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, thereabouts, I said, I'll be turning 30 soon. And on my 30th birthday, I would publish 3 novels. That was my dream. That was my hope. And as my people would say, it's good to aim. If you want to throw a stone, throw it to the sky. If it doesn't fall on the sky, it would fall on a tree. If it doesn't fall on a tree, it would fall on a roof. At least it would fall somewhere. So I wasn't able to publish 3. I still have the other 2 materials, but I did 1, and I'm so proud of myself. And I couldn't have done it alone. Of course, Danny, I did it, with your help. I met other publishers. Being my first novel, I didn't know what to do after writing. I thought, I've finished my work. Who would help me execute this? Who would help me read it? It's not easy giving people a huge material to read. They've got work, they've got their own stuff going on, and they might not do it professionally. So I wanted that professional service. So I went online and then I started looking up publishers, and people tried to scam me, It was crazy. Then I went on Facebook and I just remembered, okay, Black-owned economy. I see people posting stuff there. They're trying to help people from a minority background. Why not go there and just post and let them know your struggle? So I went there. I made a heartfelt post. I was so surprised at the reaction. People reacted so much to that post, and it was either Danny Bleckner or Conscious Dreams. I didn't even know that it was the same you were affiliated. You know, I said I was going to contact Conscious Dreams. I was going to contact Danny Bleckner as well. Then I realized, oh,
Same person.
yeah. So, and two other ladies as well. But then I loved your packaging. Just to say, Danny, you're very organized. The way you package your stuff. We have a portfolio. I didn't even realize it, but I was surprised when you said all our emails are here. I was like, what?
So what Karen's talking about is that we have a portal. So there's like a online portal, so you've got all of your material. If you're backstage and you're like, I didn't know I had a portal, you've got a portal. So all our email exchanges are there. Your anything that you say about the book cover or your forms, everything is all in one place. Go on.
Yeah, I was surprised, honestly, because I thought you would have to scroll down. You know, you've got lots of emails, but you're very organized. It's something I noticed from the very beginning because I was contacting other people as well. And, you know, the things you said you would do for us afterwards was very interesting. And it's part of what I'm benefiting from now because you're done with my book. But you have connected me to a platform on WhatsApp to do a writing platform on WhatsApp. And I know I'm going to benefit from that platform. Yeah. And also you've been posting materials like today we're here now. So you're not just there before, you're also there after, which is very interesting. And I wanted that's kind of thing I wanted from the beginning. For other people, I promise you I wouldn't have gotten this. You know, I also read some reviews online where people were saying that they would email and the publishers would not email back on time. They were delaying. So I was really, really scared. So I'm just happy that I fell in the right hands and I thank God for that. So thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you. You're very much like a community for me as well, like a family. You know, we didn't have a Christmas party this year, but we have a Christmas party every year, and all the authors meet, and it's just beautiful to see like authors from 2016 to authors from 2024 all together and talking because. Yeah, I've basically set up the sort of company I would have loved to have had when I first started because I know how daunting it is. I know some of these scam companies, and I know the chasing you down with phone calls every 2 minutes. I know how horrible that is, but I also know how much you pour blood, sweat, and tears into your writing and your book, and you want someone that's going to look after it. And it can be quite a lonely journey. So it's about, you know, even after this live here, connecting with each other, follow each other, share each other's posts, share opportunities because you know, there's opportunities for everybody here. Eukaria, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. I've got one more comment here from Yashiba. She says, congrats to you and this powerful cultural familial family, I can't say that word, story. I have ancestry in Nigeria and would love to review it. There you go. Connection made already.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I forgot I haven't been drinking tipples for some of the other authors. So I'm going to have 3 sips. One for you, Eukaria. There you go with your red wine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining. And for the others.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you out and bring you back in a second. I've got 2 more people to speak with. Thank you so much, Eukaria, and I will see you soon. Drop all your links to your books. I know your hubby will do it. Drop all your links to your books. If I've spoken to you, people want to buy your books. People want to connect with you and know what you're doing. I'm going to bring Yashiba up next and then Janet. I know you've been waiting patiently there, Janet. So I'm going to introduce you to Yashiba Gavrel, who is one of our authors. I met her in 2015. We both had a show called The Book Review Show. I had just become an author and we were interviewing other authors. First time being on radio, the first experience actually having interview skills. So coming up to 9 years now, which is very exciting. To be co-host, she was my lovely co-host. Since then, she's gone on to write her first book, Clever Chrissy and the Mango Stories, in 2022. She has just published her beautiful colouring book, Colour with Chrissy and Friends, and has also translated her books into 4 different languages. I'm going to bring on Yoshiba, aka Grandma Wiso. Let's say hello. You made it onto StreamYard. How are you doing? Introduce yourself and tell us all about your books.
Thank you very much, Danny. First of all, greetings to my fellow authors. Thanks to you, Danny, for the platform. One of the most enriching experiences, because it's such a lonely journey, and with my living in a village, being part of this community is really what's holding me and supporting me and continuing to inspire me. So I'm very grateful, honored, and privileged to be on the platform. I'm Yoshiba Gabriel. I am in the persona of my main adult character, Grandma Wiso. And Grandma Wiso was born out of the loin of the clever Chrissy and the Mango Stories. She is actually, in real life, my real grandmother, and the whole story is written through the prism of my familyhood, my childhood, my neighborhood, my schoolhood. And most of the characters would have some original representation from my childhood, but of course I've fictionalized it so that, they're not readily identifiable. The book has 7 brothers and 3 sisters. They are my family. I've got 7 brothers and 3 sisters. And what's interesting is how in my late 60s, how my childhood really re-emerged and came alive. I love my grandmother. She died in 1969. And I was one of the children. I've got 10 brothers and sisters. I was one who would always be there for her because she would sit in the window. That's her character position on the cover of the book. She had her situation where she would sit in the window and looking out, and anything we are doing, she'd be telling my mother, this Christmas. And I used to like to always be doing something, dancing, shaking, pelting mangoes. And she'd be telling me, oh, look, Christine is my birth name. Christine is doing this. Christine is doing that. And then we used to get annoyed and say, why doesn't she go and lie down and rest? Oh, yes. Mama, are you tired? It's time for you to have your rest, because she used to be just telling on us. But to see how from that childhood, a legacy has been built, not only through her wisdom and her teachings and her presence and her influence, but also how I just brought her alive in this character, Grandma Wiso. And I think for me, that's one of the best legacies I could from her, and also from my dad, who was a master storyteller and to whom I've dedicated my other books. But I talk about my other books later on. But this journey has been epic, momentous, and dynamic. And because my background is really academia, my background is psychology and sociology, and I used to love writing academic essays. So I thought the first book that will launch me into authorship would either be an autobiography or some kind of academic writing. But the fact that it's a children's book that has launched me on the platform as a children's author, it was definitely destined, because I am sure that I would not have ended up in Ghana, be invited to Singapore, and probably to Latin America if I had just written a book about, about academic boring stuff, gobbledygook. So I'm very grateful for my grandchild, whose love of mangoes opened up this whole world, but also from my own childhood, this large family, 11 of us, my dad, the master storyteller, my mother, the wisdom queen, who was a queen of peace, and she would always come with the wisdom words, and I would spend time sleeping with my grandmother, tidying her room. And for all that energy now to be filtered through this series from 6, Chrissy at 6, going up to 11 common entrance, I am still in awe, and I'm just navigating my way through the journey. And I said, Danny, for our meeting, I couldn't even remember when you showed that picture where we met in Crystal Palace, and look where our journey has met. You'll be doing, so many other. I've got another book. I'm actually currently writing, ghost writing something, and I've also done a major fiction, which I'll be talking to you about. So my writing as a children's author has mushroomed into other genres, and it's really taken me back to a humble place with something that I loved from my childhood in Trinidad.
And tell us a little bit about the significance of the mangoes.
Yes.
And because every time I think of mangoes, I think of you now. Grandma Wiser. What's the kind of message behind the book and the significance of the mangoes?
Yes. Well, everybody asks me that. Trinidad is really, the mango is called the king of fruits. And as you know, I don't know if you know the history of mangoes. It was brought into the Western world from India, and we've got Indian descendants. But the mango is really the main inanimate object that reflected the challenges of a child in terms of her personality, her developmental stage, her love of mangoes, and how this, even calling it selfish is a bit judgmental, isn't it? The psychologists say it's selfish, but it's a natural part of the ego, trying to navigate its way. And with Chrissy being demonstrating this attribute that grandma and the family said it's selfish, because the whole message, my brand message, is sharing is caring and caring is sharing. So when Chrissy in her struggle hid the mango and then told a lie that she already nyam it up, or that she didn't find any mango, and Grandma Wiser, oh gosh, Mama was a nightmare. Oh, Grandma Wiser saw when she hid the mango behind the flower pot, called her out, shamed her, and then played this wonderful game that, involved everybody and showed her what beautiful experience it is, to share. And when you don't share and you're selfish, you're miserable, you're hoarding. Whereas when you open up and you share and you embrace, you are happy, you make others happy. And then you give kindness and compassion like an active, dynamic wheel, which feeds back to you. So caring is sharing and sharing is caring. And it's intergenerational, because it also showed the role of her parents in a kind of organic way, because they were also part of the teaching. But Grandma Wiseau's way of teaching her to share is what I'd like to share with you from the book.
Beautiful. And I love how you embody the character of Grandma Wiseau as well. And what a beautiful message. I know that the kids absolutely love it when you do the storytelling with them and you share the mango story and the song. And there's so much to that, your activities in the back. Before we kind of wrap up, can you, I'm not going to ask you to do your Grandma Wiseau routine. People need to follow you to find that. Tell us a little bit about your colouring book and what people can expect from you next.
Yes, okay. So Color with Chrissy and Friends really evolved, like I said, out of the birth of Clever Chrissy and the Mango Stories. When I did Clever Chrissy and the Mango Stories, my youngest grandson was probably about 3. And he would always feel left out when the 2 older ones are reading to each other. So I remember in the early days, I did send a really crazy draft to you about, wanting to do like a coloring book. And I got some really good feedback from you about that, but it wasn't ready. It was like a green mango. Anyone a half-ripe mango don't taste good. So it wasn't ready, to come to fruition. And then after that, I have that in my portfolio. But then Sarah Keto, because of my closeness with her and supporting her book, I did a review of her book, actually, The Friendship Club and Other Stories. And then, of course, I came across her coloring book. And from my head as to how to conceptualize a coloring book and to make it relevant, between Naya Davis, who is very brilliant in her in the way in which she brought it alive. In fact, she was the one who captioned it, Color with Chrissy and Friends. I told her I want a coloring book. She captioned it for me. And then from my actually handling Sarah Keto's book and seeing how it worked and how the story was set together, how it was laid out, that gave me a concrete, pragmatic structure as to go ahead and to do the book. So I really credit her for another kind of inspiration, because, you know, and I always said to her that, I said, you're my mentor, you're an older author than I am. And for me to have reviewed all her book and now to have brought this book to life as a direct result of seeing how her book was crafted, you know, I really was delighted to give her and her mother credit for shaping me and bringing that to fruition. But also I need to mention, Danny, that book, the illustrations, which of course went through its own metamorphosis, as you know, the illustrations on that book is amazing. I took it to my children's school. The teachers, everybody wanting, they're almost fighting for the book. Nobody wants to give it up. I took it to, I took it to my library, and I did a signed copy, and I copied you into my library. Now they want to have the coloring session in all the local libraries in the borough. Wow. And they, of course, they'll be doing a massive order, you know, for me to come and do this. So I must say that even though writing comes from your own personal inspiration, and, you know, you do it, but it's not just you. It can't be just about you. You get inspiration, ideas from other people, from your childhood, from your past. And I'm always keen to acknowledge and to give credit for the people who have influenced and helped me to shape this. And now that it's in Spanish, there's going to be a major launch of the Spanish version. But you know, you all have heard me sing the Little Birdie song, but I'd like to do it in Spanish before I go.
Oh my gosh, okay, come on. And there's always something different from your Sheba, so come on, let's hear it. Let's hear your Spanish song.
Yeah, okay.
Spanish song?
Yeah, because everybody knows the English version. Little birdie on the tree, on the tree, on the tree. Little birdie on the tree, please sing a song for me. Sing a song of mangoes ripe upon the tree. Sing a song of mangoes falling down to me, oh please. Little birdie on the tree, on the tree, on the tree. Little birdie on the tree, please a mango for me. And this is the Spanish version. Pajarito en el árbol, en el árbol, en el árbol. Pajarito en el árbol, cántame una canción. Cántame una canción de mango, arriba el árbol. Cántame una canción arriba, bajo el árbol, por favor. Pajarito en el árbol, en el árbol, en el árbol. Pajarito en el árbol, un mango para mí. Por favor, quiero un mango.
I don't know what I'm impressed with more, your Spanish or your singing voice. Even my pigeon's cooing. What's happening? Always something different from your Sheba. Every time we speak, it's fantastic. Honestly, it's been a pleasure to have you. Children's authors, Carolyn, Yoshiba, Sarah, connect, talk with each other, share ideas, share your contacts, and let's raise a glass to Yoshiba. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Last
Thank
but
you.
least, I'm going to bring on Janet Campbell. Now, Janet, she's not an author yet. I did my very last Power of Your Story workshop, which I've been running since 2016. I love doing these workshops. You know, all the aspiring writers get to meet, talk about their stories, share their ideas, working in groups, getting down to their message and their why, nailing down who their audience is, getting your structure in place. All these things are so important to do before you start writing your book. So let's welcome our last guest, Janet. Hello. Janet is very recently joined our kind of community, only a month now. So I met you in November, end of November. You did the Power of Your Story course. Would you like to, the Power of Your Story workshop. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you did the Power of Your Story and your book?
Well, my name is Janet. You can hear me okay, right?
Perfectly, yeah.
Cool. Oh my gosh, I don't even look good.
You look lovely. No. Remember the power of words.
Absolutely. Yeah, so my name is Janet, and I decided to do the workshop because I've I've always wanted to write from I was at school, from primary school. And being an only child and was bullied a lot at school, the only thing I could have that was for myself was to write. So I would just go in my room and just write little stories. I did have this thing at one point thinking that maybe one day I'll be a teacher and I can read my stories to the children. And then I kind of put it down to one side, and every so often it would pop up. But then I just kind of dismissed it for a while. And then many years later, to be honest, when I hit 60, I tore my Achilles. I was at home, couldn't work. And I thought, well, maybe now's the time to sort of look at that again. So when I made that decision and I started writing a story, I then thought, well, what am I going to do with it? I don't know where to go, who to ask, what do I do with this? So I spoke to V. Roberts.
Big up V. Roberts.
Hey! And he's the go-to person for me. And then she put me in contact with you. And ever since, even from that first time we actually spoke, I was just inspired. I'm thinking, this is it. I know what I want to do. And when you mentioned the workshop, I thought, I have to be there. I have to be. And I'm so glad I went. It was amazing.
It was brilliant. You know, and what makes it for me is the people who say yes, you know, the people who are on that course and the connections that are made. It's just beautiful. Tell us, what was the kind of a bit about your book and what your takeaway from the Power of Your Story workshop was?
Well, what I took away was that it gave me the tools now. You know, it kind of set me on the road. Meeting all the others as well was really inspiring, and I think it gave me that starting point, because I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do or how I was supposed to do it. The workbooks, I can't put them down. I wake up early in the mornings and I do a bit more. I just keep going.
I love that.
It's so helpful, so helpful. So my book, well, to be honest, I've written a love story first, but I've started writing other bits as well, because there's just always things in my head. But the main story at the moment is a love story between a boy and a girl, a young boy and a girl. They start off very young, and it's their journey. I don't know how much I should say. How much should I say about it?
Well, what was the inspiration behind the book?
Because there's bits about it that it's based off myself, my journey of being an only child, feeling lonely, and I suppose really kind of looking for love. I mean, I had love from my parents, but I'm talking about love outside of that, or just wanting to feel that I matter. So the character, the little girl, is a little girl who just really kind of feels lonely, although surrounded by lots of people, lots of family friends. And it's her journey of trying to navigate that, getting through that period of her life where she just feels really like, I just want to be seen, to then going out into the big wide world, and along the way having this thing with another person, a young boy, and just feeling connections with this person and going through life with this person. Sometimes they're in my life, her life, and then out again, and just keep always ending up going back until they get to a point where they get together.
Lovely. I think one of the kind of the biggest breakthroughs I remember for you was, you know, realizing it's not just a love story, looking at the why behind the character. The more you built the layers to the character, the more you could kind of draw connections, like you said, the loneliness, the not feeling loved, wanting to be seen. And that's something that all of us feel at some stage. But delving really deep into that character was seeing you go through that, I think, was really powerful. And I'm looking forward to you joining the accountability program in January, in the new year. Everyone who did the Power of Your Story, we are meeting up again online to have some group. We're moving more into group coaching now. Obviously, we can publish, as you can see, quite a few books in a year, but we can't publish all. So I want to establish an author community where it's working within a group to either write, publish, or market. Learn how to market your book, because that's something that's often missed as well along the process. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing you all in the new year. So I'm going to bring you all on, and I want you to think about one thing that you want to share. Maybe your biggest takeaway. I want to show your biggest takeaway for 2024 in short, because this is a special, but we've nearly gone on for an hour and 45 minutes now, which is the longest show I've ever had. It is the last show of 2024. You are my final author cohort of 2024 before I take a break, which starts tomorrow until the 6th of January. Then we'll go through the submissions again. We are booked till April, but we are taking new submissions for April and beyond. But now I'm going to bring you all on. Hopefully, let me see. I've not done this before. First, starting with Yoshiba, bringing on Sarah, bringing in Eukaria, bringing on Michelle, bringing on Carolyn, bringing on Janet. Oh no, taking off Janet, bringing Janet back in. bringing in Alison. So first, what I'd like to do is can we take a group photo? Okay, let's do on 3, 2, 1. 2024.
2024.
All right, so to round up, I'm going to go round, and I want you to say one thing that you have learned from 2024 that you're going to be bringing into 2025. Not finished yet, Lee. Lee's saying take care. We've got to go to this last roundup, the last takeaway. Starting with Yoshiba, aka Grandma Wiseau.
Yes, my child. Reflecting deeply, as I say, because I live on my own and because of how I operate, for me, is appreciating that a writer's journey may be a solo experience, but it's not, and it's about staying connected, staying inspired, and keeping your writing journey dynamic and growing. So, like for example, now I've got products. I'm going to do a business, and soon I'll be doing a one-on-one Grandma Wiseau show. And just to encourage authors, it doesn't have to be stagnant. It could be an audiobook, but being part of the community, it's helping me to see possibilities of the diversity of routes that you can take by beginning this author's journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sarah, what have you learnt from 2024?
That with perseverance and if you just keep trying, you can do many, many great things. For example, when I was writing the book, I thought it was just going to be like a small little book. I might be lucky, but now this book has got me onto Sky, CBC, and much more platforms in the UK, Ghana, and maybe soon in a different country. I never know. And I think if I just keep trying, I'll get much further than I am today.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. Beautiful wise words. Thank you. Okay, Carolyn, what have you learned from 2024?
Wow, well, I've learnt a lot from this call. You guys are so inspiring, honestly. It's amazing. So lovely to hear everyone talk about your books and kind of how you wrote them and why. I've learnt lots from 2024. I've learnt how to write in chapters. I've learnt a little bit about how to use Instagram, but I'm still not very good at it. But I've definitely taken away from this call that I'm going to do an audiobook, I think, actually, and maybe a colouring book. My book next year. Thank you so much for the ideas. And I don't know about a song in Spanish. I might not quite get there, but Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you so much. I want to hear a song in Spanish now. How much I learned Spanish. Duolingo, I think. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Michelle, what have you learned from 2024?
Oh, this year I've learned so much. I mean, social media is just like I'm still learning on that one.
Doing well.
Yeah, by accident. But I just feel that I've said I can do as opposed to I can't. And I've learned that, no matter what you're going through, you can make another step forward, and you've always got God behind your back. That's what I've learned this year.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Amazing. Wow. Okay. Lots of wise words here. Eukarya, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, I've learned that dreams do come true. However, you have to work towards them. It's not enough to just have a dream. You have to also have a plan as well. Pray about it if you're a praying person. Work towards it. For example, in terms of writing, you need to just have the habit of writing as often as possible. Read books as well, and that would help you. I've also learned so much about the strength within me. The editing stage was so crazy. Editing, you think you've got it all figured out, and then the last minutes of editing, you start seeing some stuff like, where did this come from? So the strength and the mental struggle around that was a lot for me, but I like the way that I got through that. So I'll say, in all, I'm really happy with myself, and I'm grateful to God and all my friends and family that supported me, and also you and your team, Danny, for supporting me throughout this journey. So thank you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Kyria. Okay, let's go to Janet. What have you learned from 2024?
That I can do this. I've learned that there's lots of you guys out there that I can support. That I can actually make.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You were cutting out a little bit there. So what I might ask you to do is maybe to write that as well in a comment so we can hear it. It might just be my side, but if you can write that as well. So thank you so much. Thank you, Janet. Thank you.
Okay.
Alison, what have you learned from 2024?
I've learned don't put barriers on myself. Don't put limitations. Don't think that I can't do things when I really can. Trust in God, which is not something that I've learned. I just know that anyway in my heart. But things like just doing the audio, not thinking that I could do it, and I obviously did do it. So just whatever 2025 comes at me with when it comes to writing a book or doing more audios, I looked at my memoirs. I'm thinking, oh gosh, I don't think I'll be able to do this in the audio. Then I stopped myself and I thought, never say never.
There you go.
I just think that, if you've got something in your mind to do, just believe in yourself and do it.
Thank you. Just believe in yourself and do it. Wise words.
Well done.
Thank you. I realise now that I've asked this question without actually thinking about it, I've got to answer the question as well. So taking from everything you've said, first of all, thank you everyone so much for coming on and for joining and being brave. I've seen you all do things that you've never done before, whether it's publishing a book, whether it's using social media, whether it is doing an interview. Some of you I've worked with for longer than others, and just seeing everyone grow has just been such a blessing and such a powerful thing to witness. I think what I've really learned, or kind of started to appreciate more on a deeper level this year, is also the importance of reflection. I mean, I'm quite a busy person, not just because I want to be busy for the sake of being busy. It's like I've got so many ideas, so many things buzzing around in my head. I'm jumping from one thing to another, and I've got this project, and as soon as I finish one project, it's like another one, because the excitement and the high of it sometimes. But then through that, you kind of forget to look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. Like, I've set this up in 16, 16, because I was helping people, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, now 300 people. And it's not until you kind of, my VA said, well, why don't you do a 2024 roundup? I've never done a live like this before where, you know, I've brought on authors for the year and talked about everything that we've done. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 18. And hearing all of your stories and hearing all of your growth has kind of solidified to me even more the importance of really being appreciative of the things that we have achieved. So often we can beat ourselves up and say, well, I haven't done this yet. I haven't done my audiobook. I said I was going to do this. You know, I could beat myself up because I still haven't done my children's fantasy novel that I've been saying for ages. But I have translated my book into 2 different languages. I have been shortlisted for an award. Didn't win the award, but I got shortlisted for an award that was really important to me. And again, just being part of your journeys, like your success is also my success. Whether it is, and it's the same for each other, whether it's you've helped somebody with something or you've given them a connection, that's a success for you. And one of my sayings that I love, if you want to go, it's an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And I hope today that we can all stay connected, and people who are watching, you can follow each other. If you feel inspired by what you've heard, don't be afraid to reach. You've only got one life, you know. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody and ask for advice, ask for help. We can all offer something to someone, whether a piece of advice, whether it is a connection, whether it's an invite to a book launch. You never know what can go. Invite to a dinner, you know, as I met Michelle. You never know. And I nearly stayed at home, you know. You never know what can come from that. And I want to thank God as well, because I do believe that things happen for a reason beyond our understanding, and just a real sense of appreciation for all of you here today who are on and who are watching. And that's my mess. That's what I'm taking from 2024 into 2025.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
thank you. I didn't know I was going to say all of that. Thank you to all of you. It's been absolutely amazing. Honestly, I've really enjoyed this, and I just want to raise a glass to you. So thank you for being part of my journey. Yes,
My character cushion.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Well done, everyone.
Oh, so much luck next year as well. So I'm going to play you out one more time with this theme tune music. Oh, it's not playing. It doesn't want to play, so that's saying to me. Oh, here you go. It's playing.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Congratulations, everyone.